again, and welcome to another episode of Merkon's Musings, a Star Wars action figure review. And today we're looking at none other than R2-D2 Sensor Scope from The Empire Strikes Back. And this action figure was actually pretty cool. I had it when I was a kid. And as you can see, there's many different versions of R2-D2 here. And we'll be looking at all of them. So there are a total of 5 action figures I'm going to review. And there's one that's not here, but I have had it in the past, and I will put the images up in the video. So before we get into the review, let's talk a little bit about this character in the film. So this is the first time we see R2-D2 use a new tool in his arsenal, and he pulls out the sensor scope when he's in Echo Base looking for Luke Skywalker, who has not returned from his patrol. And this was actually kind of cool. And then we also see this when R2-D2 is on Dagobah and he falls into the water and he swims towards shore and that creature gets him. But you see the little sensor scope pop out of the water and it brings him towards land. So with that said, let's take a look at these action figures. Right off the bat, we will start off with the original Kenner version from 1982. And this is a little bit beat up. This is my own one from a kid. As you can see, it looks like he got shot. He's got like a chunk taken out of him. But, you know, there's one thing I liked about the Kenner action figures and disliked, because it had just a sticker on here, which gave it a cool, you know, vintage kind of look. But as you can see, over time, or with rough play, it'll come loose. So yeah, it's a typical R2-D2. It's actually only 3 points of articulation. And, you know, when it moves the head, it makes those click noises, which is kind of a cool play feature. And it has just 2 legs. But this one has a sensor scope. And what's interesting about this figure, the Kenner R2-D2 with sensor scope was first available in 1981 as part of the Sears exclusive Rebel Command Center playset. But it wasn't released on a card back, it was released in a baggie, which is this. So this is the one from the actual playset. And as you can see, time has not been too kind to this one, but it is in much better shape than this. So that's the first of these R2-D2 figures. The second one we're going to be looking at is this one, the Power of the Force 2. This one came out in 1997. And this one had a couple extra things to pop into it. Like it has a grasping arm and it has this saw that you can cut. But it was really cool. I mean, it looks okay. It's similar to the Kenner one as far as articulation goes. 1, 2, and 3 points of articulation. So the head moves. What's really neat, and when you turn it, you see this comes out. This is the thing that he uses to plug into the city computers and stuff. And then when you move it back, it goes in. And then also, if you push in the sensor scope, there's a button here, and this pops up the sensor scope. So sensor scope. So it's not a bad action figure. It's you know, for Power of the Force 2, this is probably one of the better ones. And they gave it a little dirt wash to make him look dirty, which I don't see why they should have done that. But yeah, this was cool because it had a freeze frame. I always liked the freeze frames. I thought they were really interesting. And I used to have the book, and I used to like looking at those images from the films. The third R2-D2 is from the original trilogy collection and came out in 2004. And it had the same card as this one, same exact. But they didn't call it a sensor scope. They called it an extension arm. And it had the Return of the Jedi logo on it, and it came in a clamshell packaging. But it's actually a really cool action figure. It had a plate like this, and you could pop this plate off. This is virtually the same action figure, but it's different because this is glued in place. But you could pop that off, and it had the same kind of extension arms. It had a saw and that one that goes into the terminals. It's the same exact one. The third leg comes out. It obviously has wheels on the legs for it to help roll. Same amount of articulation, the 2 legs and the head, which can turn. But the cool thing is when you turn this, the sensor scope pops out, which I always thought that was kind of cool. And it also has that thing, if you hold it up to the light, can you see that? You see this this blue light here in the center eye glows a little bit, which is kind of cool. So those are the features of this one. This one is the 4th one. And this one comes from the Saga collection. So this is the actual one. It's the same as the original trilogy collection, but on this one they glued it into place, and it was used for the scene where in Empire Strikes Back, where Luke goes to Dagobah, and it came with a cargo compartment, like a small chest with a lantern and a rations kit. So remember that scene where Yoda pops up and surprises Luke on Dagobah when he's eating dinner, and then he starts to try to trick him. That's what this R2-D2 is supposed to represent. In the one that is the definitive version, and that is this one, which is R2-D2 Vintage Collection 234. This one came out in 2022. It has some pretty neat stuff. So there was a little band going around this, so you can pop open one of these things and you can have this little thing pop up, which is kind of like an extension arm, which is a little hard to get out. There it is. And you could use this to, get into computers and whatnot like the other ones. The one thing I don't like about this one, I wish they would have done it more like the last one that we looked at, the 2006 Saga Collection. So as you can see, let's see if I can get it. So if you turn the head, the compartment goes in and doesn't go in. It closes and opens, right? So if you open, close, right? So it comes with this accessory, which is an actual sensor and you put it in like that. And if you turn the head, you can extend it a little bit more, but it doesn't fit right. It doesn't seem to go up high enough. That's my complaint about this. But everything else is perfect. The leg just goes in, right? So as you can see, when the leg is in, this thing pops up higher, the sensor scope. But it's like too loose. That's my biggest complaint with this figure. I love all the other stuff. But it is the definitive one, because all we're talking about is R2-D2 with a sensor scope, and it looks great. I even like the nickel-like dome he has, which is screen accurate. This is very screen accurate. It could have been a little bit more, beat up and dirty, but it's pretty good. I gotta say, it's definitely the definitive version of this figure. Not that it's a hard thing to do, because this figure is pretty simple, and I like what they did with it. So yeah, this is the definitive version of this action figure, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time with another episode of Merkon's Musings. Have a great day.